Hello, I am Dr. Maggie Shields, an assistant professor of health promotion at Charleston Southern University in Charleston, South Carolina. I am here to take a minute and share our current piece of research for the Journal of Outdoor Recreation and Education Leadership. It is called Promoting Campus Cycling for Outdoor Recreation and Transportation, Investigating Factors Influencing Student Bicycle Usage on a Large Southeastern University from an Ecological Perspective. And this research took place in 2014 at the University of Alabama. This research addresses the contributing and hindering intrapersonal, interpersonal, and institutional factors of cycling on a large-scale growing campus. The goal of the research was to give a student voice to the campus stakeholders to better understand how cycling culture on the campus is currently perceived and how minor changes could be used over time to improve transportation and parking issues that are currently plaguing the campus. The reason I got into this was because I was part of the Bike Advisory Group, I was a student member, but it is a group of stakeholders that include the Director of Housing, the campus planners, UAPD or the police department, as well as the heads of outdoor recreation and university recreation. So this was something that we wanted to do that was pivotal to help the growing campus. So what we found was that there were a number of intrapersonal factors that were significant to cycling. However, ones like weather, the ability to carry cargo or books on a bike, and feeling silly were all ones that were significantly valued with a p-value of less than 0.001. So pretty big significance with those ones. Overall, personal appearance as well as bike-specific issues did pose significance. So personal appearance was things like feeling silly wearing a helmet or getting to class and feeling sweaty or out of breath. The bike-specific issues were more safety, so not knowing how to change a tire or afraid that a tire could pop or blow out when riding. So all of those were ones that were significant. Of the intrapersonal, so the interaction between the cyclist as well as either a pedestrian or other vehicles, the ones that we found that were significant were the vehicles turning in front of cyclists. So say a cyclist is in a bike lane, having the vehicle turn in front of them, and maybe the vehicle didn't use turn signals or things like that to indicate that, or just made a snap judgment and didn't see the cyclist, as well as crossing intersections. So knowing when they can go, who could go first. We did notice, we asked two different questions when it came to stop signs versus stop lights, and those did have different factors. So cyclists were more likely to stop at stop lights than they were to stop at stop signs, which we thought was really interesting. Of the institutional factors as a whole were statistically significant. The biggest ones, though, that we saw were inadequate bike lanes. So some of them said that the bike lanes being too narrow, or just stopping, or having a really abrupt edge. They didn't feel comfortable with that. Also being connected to surrounding off-campus areas. So maybe they felt like there was adequate cycling area on campus, but had trouble getting to the greater city area. And because it rained so much in the South, one of the other big ones was lack of indoor bike parking. So people didn't want to necessarily purchase a bicycle and then have it sit outside and maybe get rusty. And those were things that were all cited the most for hindering campus cycling. So what we found is that kind of the conclusion that we came to was that to improve interpersonal level concerns, we need to look at the institutional barriers as well as facilitators to be able to do this. So improving the bike lanes. For some, they said that they didn't feel safe because there wasn't enough lighting, or in many cases, we saw that those who cycled said that there was something wrong with the interaction with vehicles and that it was kind of posed as the vehicle's fault. But a lot of the people who didn't cycle said that it was the cyclist's fault. So being able to delineate as to who's at fault and what rules need to be followed. For the state of Alabama, a cycle, any type of bicycle as well as a skateboard, is deemed a mode of transportation and has to follow street rules, and that is something that is not always adhered to. In the results of this, factors at the institutional level were the most important predictors of cycling. So how close the area to lock up your bike, the bike racks, were to the door, or covered parking, or areas to change, or a variety of these things. Those were definitely the most important predictors of cycling. And what we concluded from this is that the findings do support previous research that indicate that facilities and infrastructure, really the built environment, do make cycling safer, easier, more effective, and attractive to individuals and groups. Additionally, one of the things that helps to build a culture that these built environment objectives and areas have is that when more cyclists cycle, then we start to see that more people want to cycle as well. And so by building up the built environment and addressing some of these interpersonal, and institutional factors, we can build a better cycling environment, which can also help with the traffic congestion as well as some of the parking issues. So I hope that you will take time to read through the article, and feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Thank you so much and have a great day.